Hi, everyone. We're so excited for today's webinar. We're actually going to start in about another minute or so. But for those of you who already have joined the room, thank you. Just quickly, can someone message me on chat and let me know if you can hear me and see the slides okay? Excellent. Oh, thank you, everyone. Love it. So we know chat works as well. All right. So just some housekeeping things as people join in. Feel free to ask questions along the way in the questions tab. And then of course, you can also engage with others and post comments in the chat function as well. And this webinar will also be recorded and sent to you after the webinar ends. Excellent, thanks everyone. This is so exciting. I know we had several hundred registrants globally. Would be cool to see where you're all from as well. I think I recognize some Finnish names in there. Spain, UK, London. Wow. Any US people here? Wow, international. Chicago. Love it. Maryland. All right. Well, definitely want to be mindful of everyone's time. I know it's a minute past. People still are joining in. You're joining in. The recording will be sent afterwards. If you miss anything, don't worry. Okay, so let's officially get started. Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for being here today. We're so excited to have our special guest, Lindsay Morando from Hello Bar here today. And together, we'll talk about how to close the content loop on your website so that your content efforts end up in actual sales leads. Before we dive into it, here's a quick background on myself and Lindsay. So first, hi everyone, I'm Carol Luong at Leadfeeder. In my previous life, I have 10 years of B2B digital marketing experience, and I currently oversee communications and US business operations at Leadfeeder. And here at Leadfeeder, we work with thousands of content marketers daily through Leadfeeder, and we help them increase their ROI on their content and advertising efforts. And I'm also from New York City. And I think that's pretty much it. So I'll pass it over to Lindsay.
Oh, hi. Thanks so much, Carol. Thanks for having me here, everyone. I'm super excited to dive into this training. So my name is Lindsay Morando, and as Carol mentioned, I'm the Director of Marketing for Hello Bar. I've actually been in marketing and business development for over 15 years. Since that time, I've written a book, I've launched my own coaching business, I've spoken at conferences all over the world, taught a college course on digital marketing, and encountered pretty much every type of marketing platform out there. And that's why I'm so excited to be here teaching today and so passionate about it because I get to use everything from all of these years of experience. And I've advertised all sorts of products from Lululemon yoga pants to Shark Tank winning guitar accessories, and have been able to work with budgets all across the world, all across the board. Sorry guys, it's a little early here, so we're over in San Diego. But most recently I became the Director of Marketing for Hello Bar about 2 years back. So super excited to be here with you today. So Carol, I think before we start, I'm just gonna hop in. I'd love to just launch a quick poll and ask everyone here, what type of business do you own or work for? Hopefully you guys should see that poll live now. Let me know if you don't in the chat, but I want to make sure that we cater everything towards the businesses we have on here. Of course, we'll have plenty of time for Q&A in the end. So if you won't mind answering that quick poll, that would be awesome. Good amount of agency, consulting, digital marketing. And I realized I forgot to put other, so if you don't see yours there, feel free to type in the chat. Okay, it sounds like we've got good amount of those three going on. Awesome. Okay, cool. I'll let the poll keep coming in, but this is really great. This gives me an idea. So we'll definitely be using examples from make sure that they're pertinent to everyone that's here today. Software, a lot of SaaS. Okay, cool. Awesome. Marketing managers, software. Amazing. Okay, great. Perfect. Sailing in Greece or charter boats in Greece. That sounds amazing. Okay, so let's dive in. I want to make sure we have enough time to get through all the content, but it looks like we've got a pretty good mix between agency, digital marketing, consulting, and e-commerce, and then SaaS. So that's great. So you guys, there's a really big problem that exists today that a lot of people don't actually know. On average, 98% of visitors will actually leave your site without taking action. So that means you're spending all this time, money, and energy getting people to your website, but for every 10,000 visitors that you're getting to your website, 9,800 will leave your site without taking action. That means putting in an email address or even getting to another page where you could potentially get a sale. So obviously that's super devastating because you spent all this time, money, and effort to get people to your site. But today we're gonna actually break down how to actually keep people on your site, how to use softwares like Leadfeeder and HelloBar so that you can really build a relationship with your website visitors, give them what they need so that they're far more likely to stay on your website and start taking the action steps that you want them to take. So we know there's definitely hope. We know that you need leads and sales to have the business, but how do you actually solve this problem, right? How do you solve the problem of actually getting people to stay on your website? Because it's a very big issue that exists. So today we're going to talk about 3 simple steps that can support you in ensuring that you're getting your website visitors to take the action steps you want them to take. So number 1, we're going to talk about attracting the right traffic. This is huge, you guys. It's not about getting millions and millions and millions of visitors, although traffic is important. It's about getting quality traffic and the right people. So we're going to talk about how you identify who your ideal client is and what channels are filled with your ideal client so you can actually show up there, okay? Number 2, we're going to talk about how do you actually convert your traffic, right? So once you get these people to your website, how do you actually come up with the most ideal experience possible to get those people on your site to convert? And then number 3, which I think is super vital alongside all of these, is test and iterate. We talk about this a lot at HelloBar, right? You don't know until you test. So I'm going to talk about how to actually test and iterate to make sure you know if something's working or not. Because you can try all the things in the world, but if you don't test it, you will never know. All right, so I'm going to hand it back to Carol.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. We're off to a great start. Diving right into step number 1 that Lindsay mentioned of closing the content loop. At the end of the day, you need to know who your ideal client is in order to create better content that reels your customers in, right? So knowing who your ideal client will enable you to create better content. First obvious step is, but yet not so always so easy, is to look at your current client list. You want to break up your audience into a few categories. 1, who does the initial search, right, on your website? Because this might not always be the decision maker. And at least at Leadfeeder, we see that there's probably like 3 to 5 decision makers at every company. And so we target each person along the funnel differently based off of whether they're doing the initial search or the decision maker. And then secondly, obviously, who is the decision maker? And lastly, what channels did they find you through? Was it through social? Was it through a partner site? Organic search, paid ads? And once you answer all these questions, you can actually build out a more in-depth buyer personas, which is a whole beast in itself and could probably be an entire separate webinar. So as I move along to the next slide, I'm actually going to launch another poll to see if there are any interest in a webinar on that topic. Okay, let me publish that poll. Okay, would you attend a webinar focused on how to build buyer personas? Excellent. Okay, a second source for discovering your ideal clients is your analytics platform. In this case, I have a screenshot of Google Analytics. And within Google Analytics, you can look at reports such as where referral traffic is coming from, which pages or blogs have the best conversion rates. Overall, these reports give you further insights into where your ideal audience spends their time and what type of content appeals to them. And Google Analytics is a free tool, so definitely take advantage of it. And if you ever need any help with digging into Google Analytics data, feel free to reach out to Leadfeeder's team, and we'd be happy to walk you through that as well. Another source to identify your ideal clients is actually using a website visitor identification tool such as Leadfeeder, because with these types of tools, you can dig a little deeper in addition to the analytics that you see in like Google Analytics, and see what companies and industries are actually visiting your website. And a tool like Leadfeeder will even give you like the office, narrow down to the office location of where these companies and visitors are coming from. But obviously, like this is more of a B2B tool. So if you are B2C, just bear with me for a second. Oh yeah, and another neat tool, another neat feature of using Leadfeeder is you'll be able to see what pages appeal the most to these target companies. Or perhaps you might notice a specific industry company visiting certain pages and you never even thought to like market to this type of audience. So lots and lots of possibilities around using a website visit identification tool. All right, I think passing back off to Lindsay.
Sounds good. Well, this is totally perfect, Carol, because for getting the persona and really identifying that ideal client who is actually coming to your site is so valuable, because now that we know who's coming to your site, what industry they are, what type of person these people are, we can start to create a relationship with your website visitors, right? Because we know more about their characteristics, their personality, what they're seeking, solutions that they're finding. Because the money is really in creating a relationship with your website visitors. And the way you do that is through really truly thinking about these industries and people coming to your site. What solution are they seeking when they're coming to your website? Because everyone's coming to a site because they're looking for a solution to their problems. Whether it's Black Friday and you're looking for a new duvet cover or a car, or it's, you're an agency looking, or someone's coming to your agency looking for support with their branding, web design, whatever it may be, right? So the money truly is in creating the relationship. So how do you actually do that, right? So there's 3 simple steps in order to actually create that relationship. And it really starts with, prior to those 3 simple steps, what Carol just talked about. From there, once you know this ideal client, you can establish your goal for your website. You can create that awesome offer that captures their interest and, of course, gets their emails. And then from there, you can actually test and iterate. So step 1, when you're thinking about your website, is you really have to define your goal for the website. So I saw a lot of people that were agencies, consulting, e-commerce, SaaS. So I'm assuming with agencies, consulting, you want people to actually hire you, book your services or packages. For my SaaS people, you may be similar to us on the Hello Bar side, where we have a free freemium product. So we want people to create a Hello Bar account, or maybe you have a free trial, right? So when you're thinking about the ultimate goal for your website, I want you to think bigger than your website. I want you to think about what is the ultimate goal for your business. At the end of the day, once somebody has moved their way through your website, what do you want them to accomplish? You want them to book your services, take your free trial, sign up for an account with you, sign up for a demo with one of your team members. What is it that you actually want them to accomplish at the end of the day? And this is super, super important. So how do you do that? Well, you've got to start thinking about your customer journey, right? I love to map out a customer journey on websites, because then you actually know how to fill in the middle steps, right? So if my ultimate goal is to get people to hire us as an agency, I've got to fill in the middle steps in my customer journey to get them down the path to hire us as an agency. So I thought I would share a few examples of how I would map out a customer journey on a website. So the first is an e-commerce example for my e-commerce folks, and this can really probably apply to SaaS as well. So let's say that you have an e-commerce site, you're trying to sell a product. In this example, this company is actually Teeks. They're a very well-known brand. They're super comfortable shoes. Their ideal clients are coming to them because they're business professionals. They want shoes that they can wear that are in everyday wear and super comfortable. So let's say you're Teeks and you've bought 3,000 pairs of these shoes, and your goal for the quarter is to just sell these shoes, right? So how do you actually get people to buy these shoes? Well, knowing who your personas are, they're business professionals looking for a comfortable shoe that is an everyday wear. The Heritage Plaid may not be an everyday wear, right? Because you can't wear it with every outfit, although it'd be awesome if you could. So how do you actually map this out? So I think about, if my ultimate goal is to get people to buy these shoes, I've got to sell out of these shoes on this site. I need to start thinking about maybe what could I do to get people down that path. So there's 2 ways, right? first, you could go the traditional route. You could do some sort of free shipping or savings to get people, and just on the Heritage Plaid shoe to get people to buy the shoe. The second, you could do some sort of bonus, right? So maybe you've decided we need to educate our customers on this shoe and how it could be an everyday wear, since that's what they're looking for, before we get them to buy the shoe. So maybe you could do a fall capsule wardrobe guide, get full access to 10 different outfits you can wear with a Heritage Plaid shoe that you already have in your closet. Then you collect their email address. Then when you start emailing them, you send them a savings or a discount to take them back to the site to buy the shoe, right? So that's kind of two different customer paths. In order to decide which path to take your customer down, you've got to ask yourself, what do they need to do or see before they're going to ultimately purchase or buy from you? So here's another example. We've got a lot of consultants, agencies on here, so I thought I would use an example of that. Let's say that you're an agency or consultant and your services are about 10 grand minimum. So ultimate goal at the end of the day is to get somebody to your website and get them to book your services, right? Well, most likely, unless your traffic is ridiculously warm, they've already met with you, they've already had a call with you, most likely they're not going to buy a 10 or 20 grand package from your website. If they do, that's absolutely amazing. But we're talking kind of a bigger, broader picture here. So what do they need to do or see before they're actually going to hire you as an agency or as a consultant? Well, if you're charging that much, most likely it may be something like a call with you, some sort of demo with one of your team members, right? So if you're thinking about that, then filling in the blank on your site, ultimately to get them down to the customer path where you want them to go, you've got to fill in maybe getting them to your website, and then you try to get them to a consultation form or a call, or perhaps you have some sort of like free video series that you take them down, right? But I'm going to guess that they're going to hire you for agency services or coaching and consulting, probably they're going to want to hop on a call with you, right? So when you're thinking about your goal, you want to think about where do you ultimately want to get them to, and then how do you fill in that customer journey to get them down the path on your website. We're going to talk about this in just a second a little bit more when we talk about free offers. But ultimately, I want you to ask yourself this question, and you can fill in the blank for this no matter what style business you are, whether you are a SaaS company, you're an e-commerce agency consultant. What do they need to do or see before hiring you, purchasing from you, buying your product? And that's what you want to fill in first and foremost. So once you have your goal, then you want to start to fill in the middle part of that customer journey, right? So maybe if it's SaaS, it's a free trial. Maybe if it's agency, it's a 45-minute branding and consulting call, right? Really ask yourself, ultimately, what do they need to do or see before they're going to purchase from you? So what happens when you don't have a goal for your website? This. If you don't have a goal set for your website, this is what I see too often, is that people get to a site and they're super overwhelmed. There's too many calls to action. They're trying to take them down multiple paths, and it doesn't really work well. So I thought I would share an example of us setting up a goal for our site and actually being able to use this process. So some of you may or may not know, but Hello Bar is actually owned by Neil Patel from neilpatel.com, who specializes in supporting people in getting organic traffic to their website. So about 2 years back, Neil was selling his advanced marketing course, and his ultimate goal was to get people to buy that course, right? So he knew, and he asked himself, what do people need to do or see before they're going to buy from me? And he knew that he needed to get them on a webinar with him, because if he could get them on a webinar with him, then they could know who he was, they could get to know Neil, and then from there, if they were interested in the product, they could buy it, right? So what he did is he actually had that main goal for the site. Ultimately, he wanted to sell the course. So every call to action on his website actually went to a webinar, and then the webinar sold the course. That was the only goal he had for his website, was to get people on the webinar, and then the webinar sold the course. Everywhere he put a call to action on his website, whether it be a pop-up or in the header, he had something, this that I'm showing you in this image, that button took them to the webinar. So this actually helped us sell 6,000 courses. And the reason why is because we focused in on one main goal. So what you focus in will grow. So if you are an agency and you want to, that's your main goal, is to book your agency services, then your website should be solely focused on getting people to the next step to get them to book your services. If you're a SaaS company, your website should be focused on getting people to the next step to book, the free trial or whatever it may be. It's really important that you define the goals and that you really have one main goal in mind. So when you're thinking about your goal, there's 4 questions to ask yourself so that you can really define your goal ultimately for your website. 1, just like Carol had talked about, where is your traffic coming from? And that's where Leadfeeder is so amazing, right? And number 2 and 3 are great because of Leadfeeder. Who is your ideal client that's coming to your site? But most importantly, what are they seeking? What solution are they seeking? So if you see that these same companies are coming to your site, why are they coming to your site? What are they looking for, right? And then what steps do they need to take before they're actually going to purchase your product? And that's where we start to fill in the middle of the customer journey, right? So again, where's the traffic coming from? Who is your ideal clients coming to your site? What are they seeking when they come to the site? What solution are they seeking from you? Why would they buy your software? Why does it make their life easier and better? Why would they buy your agency services? Why do they need it? This is what you want to start thinking about. And then again, what steps do they need to take before they actually purchase your product? Okay, so step 1 is really creating that goal, you guys, creating that goal for your site. From there, I want to expand upon filling in the middle part of that customer journey, because that's really where creating an irresistible offer comes in. So I want to show you some examples of creating an offer that have worked really well for us. And when you're thinking about creating an offer for your site, I want you to start to think about what offers do you bite on, right? When you get to a website, when do you put your email address in, and when do you say no thanks? Really start to think about, when you've gone to other agency sites or SaaS software sites or whatever they may be, what causes you to actually take the action step and say, okay, I'm going to take this offer. I'm going to put my email address in. So I thought I would share a few different examples. The first example is I actually wrote a book years back, and I thought I would share an example of a way to actually promote and to use the book as a free offer versus another way. So when I had my book, my goal was ultimately to get people to just get the book in their hands, promote the book, get more early adopters and readers. So what I did is I actually gave away, before I even finished the book, I gave away half the book as a PDF, as a free offer. I built my tribe up, excuse me, and then once the book launched, I had people to actually talk to. So I gave away half the book, and then I let them know that when it was going to be available on Amazon and that they could buy the rest of the book there. Now, some people may say, I can't believe you gave away half the book. Like, basically, do they even need to read the rest of it? Well, I truly believe that your free offer on your site should be better than people's paid offers, okay? Because if you can give them an example of what your product's gonna be like, if they can really start to get some quick wins from your product, whether it's a demo or a free trial, they're far more likely to purchase your product, right? So the flip side of this is I recently went to go look for a book, and I actually downloaded the free sample, and it was only a chapter. Now, I don't know about you, but in one chapter, I can't tell if I'm gonna like a book or not. So that's an example of not going value first. So I know we've got a lot of free trials on here, demos on here, all of that. So it sounds like a lot of SaaS softwares. So something else that we actually do that works really well for us is we have, again, a freemium product, so it's free to start, and then there's upgrade possibilities within the product because we have some awesome features in there. But what we do is we actually get people, once they're in the product, we prompt them to actually create a bar or a pop-up or a modal first within the software. That way they're starting to get some quick wins. They're a little bit invested in it, then they can actually see what HelloBar does. So I really encourage you guys, for your free demos, any of the software, really give people an example of what you do so that they can start to get some wins from you, so that they're far more likely to see what you're about and stay on long term. Okay, so I thought I'd use a few more examples that have worked really well for us, and they're all different style industries for when you're thinking about your free offer. So, excuse me. This first example was a website that we built years back. It was called nutritionsecrets.com. And on Nutrition Secrets, we were currently collecting around 10 emails per day. But we knew that our ultimate goal was to increase our lead count and ultimately to sell our course, which was $197. So what we did is, we basically at the time had only had an opt-in, a free offer off to the side. It wasn't very apparent or visible. So we made one slight change. We actually turned the free offer into a quiz. We used the software called Lead Quizzes, and we created a quiz on our site to give people their health and wellness workout plan. We knew people that were coming to the site were looking to lose weight. They were looking for a workout plan. So we basically created a quiz that supported them in getting the workout plan. Once we collected their email address, from there, we started to send them emails, shared more about our philosophy, and then invited them, if they liked what they got in their workout plan, to buy our course. This helped us go from collecting 10 emails a day to 50 emails a day on our website. And what we did is we actually used one of the Hello Bar page takeovers. Hello Bar has a page takeover and pop-ups for those of you that are not familiar with the software. It's a pop-up software. So we used one of the page takeovers and we had it display only when people were leaving the website and they clicked the button, they took the quiz, and then from there we emailed them afterwards. So the reasons why this worked: one, the page takeover works really well, especially when displayed upon exit. Two, it's a quiz, it's interactive. People love that. That's a really great way, to start to interact with your website visitors. So maybe that's something you could start to think about putting into play for your business. Example number two is an e-commerce website. Now, this is actually an example of a website that doesn't get that much traffic for those of you that are just newer or starting out, or maybe you're not driving much traffic to your site. So what we did in this example is we actually gave away a $100 gift card. So we said, enter your email for a chance to win a $100 gift card. This is a bikini website. And in 9 days, we collected 16 emails. Now, this may not seem like that much to you, but at the time, she only had 100 visitors, right? Now, over the past 35 days, she's collected 110 emails. And I think her pop-up has seen around 1,000 visitors. So that's pretty darn good. Standardly, for every 5 or 100 visitors you have on your website, you'll collect around 5 emails. So this is almost triple it, right? So an example, the reason why this worked really well is because we gave people a really good incentive. Enter your email address to win a $100 gift card, right? And on top of this, not only did she collect all those emails, she also sold a couple swimsuits at $150 a piece. So it more than paid for the gift card. So this is an example of starting to get more interactive and fun. Raffles work really well. Maybe you could give away a free, consultation session with one of the people at your agency. Perhaps you could start to think about some sort of prize that may be an incentive for people that would come to your site. So this is just another example. So third, I wanted to go through an agency example. So on neilpatel.com, I showed you that we had a webinar that we were trying to sell years ago, but now we actually have an agency. So when you head over to neilpatel.com, you'll actually see that he has a really cool pop-up that displays that gets people again on a webinar. And then at the end of the webinar, he actually shares that he has an agency, an SEO agency, or he has, for those that don't have the budget for an SEO agency, he has a software that they can use for their business to help support them in getting more traffic to their site, because that's what he specializes in. So this is an example from an agency consulting folks. He does a webinar because it allows people to actually see him live. They can interact with him. They can ask questions. Then in the end of the webinar, he lets them know if they have an agency, if they're interested in learning more, they can hop on with one of their sales professionals or team members. So this is another way to start to think about it. If you have an agency or maybe more of a consulting, you could do something like a webinar. That way people can actually interact with you, see you live, have your team members on there, and be able to learn more about what you're doing. So this is an example of what's currently on Neil's site. So it's the Advanced SEO webinar, how to generate 1,702,148 visitors a month through SEO. And it's, yes, Neil, I want to grow my business. Then that button takes them to the webinar, they sign up, and they get to learn more about it. So this is just another example that you can use. There's so many different styles of free offers that you can use, but ultimately you have to ask yourself, what does my ideal client need to do or see before they're going to buy from me, right? So it goes back to the goal so that we can really see what we want to take them down. So once you have that free offer, you guys, you have to make sure that you have a catchy headline or a catchy title. I always use the example of the grocery store because that's where I love to find catchy headlines. I always look when I'm in the grocery store aisle and see what actually catches my attention. So once you have that valuable offer on your site, then when you have a catchy title, you're gonna most likely get a conversion. Another great place to actually find titles is BuzzSumo.com. That is a really great way to find headlines. So definitely start looking at sites like BuzzSumo. Look at subject lines that you get in your email. I always have a Google Doc where I collect all the subject lines that I love. And then I go back to them when I'm looking for a headline. Be careful. You don't want to be clickbaity, right? You don't want someone to click on something and then you kind of trick them and give them the exact opposite. But finding a headline, and I'm going to show you some examples, some of headlines that work really well in a second, is super key. Because once you have that offer on your site, if the headline just says, hey, get my free offer, it's not going to be very enticing for people. So how do you actually find a headline? Facebook, social media, BuzzSumo, those are all really, really great sites. So here's some examples of some headlines that have worked really well for us. So how to generate, we just went through this one, 1,702,148 visitors a month through SEO. The reason why this works well is the fact that people are coming to your website, or to coming to Neil's site, because we use this on his site, to learn how to get more organic traffic to their website. So this works really well because now he's saying, I'm going to show you how to get that traffic to your website. How to get out of debt in 90 days or less with this simple guaranteed system. I don't know about you guys, but if I was in debt and you told me that I could get out of debt, I would be really excited. And if you told me how it was going to be simple, 100%, I would be very excited to get out of debt easily. And then why diets don't work and what to do about it, right? This is called flipping a belief on its head. So perhaps if you're in the health and wellness space, people are thinking that the only way that they're gonna get out of, the only way that they're gonna feel healthy, energetic, and lose weight is if they have a diet. But you're telling them, hey, guess what? Diets don't work and I'm gonna tell you what to do about it. So again, that could be a relief for people, right? It can make them feel like, okay, thank goodness, I don't have to do that. So that's just a few examples of some headlines. But again, BuzzSumo is really an amazing site to get some headlines. Looking at subject lines, looking at what makes you click is really, really key. So top tips, you guys, when you're thinking about your free offer, if you ask a yes/no question, so that means like, do you want more traffic to your site, yes or no? You'll see that sometimes on websites in pop-ups and top bars and stuff. That actually generates about 20% to 30% more leads. So they work really, really well. Journeys and courses convert better than ebooks by 16%. Journeys would be something like, hey, I'm going to do the keto diet for this month. Follow me along my journey for the next 30 days and see what I learn along the way, right? That would be an example of a journey. Courses are really great. They work really well as well. The reason why ebooks don't perform as well anymore is because they're not perceived as valuable as they used to be because they were one of the original free offers that people used to use. So now, unfortunately, people don't perceive them as much value, but downloadables, checklists, guides work really well as well. You should offer your free offer throughout the website. So your homepage, your blog, your header, an exit intent, so a page takeover upon exit. Those are really key ways to offer your free offer. And then I mentioned this, but a good lead magnet will generate about 5 emails for every 100 unique visitors. And on neilpatel.com, we roughly generate about 7.4 emails for every 100 unique visitors. And then a good conversion rate, meaning that somebody clicked the button, somebody took the action step you wanted them to take, put their email address in, is standardly around 2 to 3%, just to give you an idea of conversion rates and what works well. And what I always tell people, you guys, is use what you already have, okay? So I always tell people that if you already have a course or something that works really well, use your course as your free offer, or like a portion of the course. If you already have some sort of book that you've created or guide or checklist or something you've created that people love, use that. Maybe you have a top blog post that everybody goes to on your site. make that into a PDF and make that into your free offer. Okay, so start to think about what you already have so that you can use that in your free offer. Okay, so you've got your goal, you've got your free offer. From there, you have to go in and you have to implement it and test it. This is what is key, you guys. So you've got to get it live on your site, right? You've got to get these offers live on your site so that you know if they're going to work or not, so that you can actually start to get people to convert on your website. So there's 3 parts, and that's really where something like Hello Bar actually comes in. So in Hello Bar, we ask you basically to do 3 things. Grab your template in there, you get to design and time it, and then from there you can iterate and publish. So one of the things I think is really cool about Hello Bar is we make it really simple for you to get your offer live on your website. So I actually use the example of my puppy, Walter. He is my husband's little sales assistant, I call him. So my husband is in sales, and when he goes out to accounts, sometimes he'll bring Walter, because Walter seems to help with getting some sales. And that's really what I look at Hello Bar and even Leadfeeder as, right? Hello Bar is really a sales assistant. So once you get someone to your site, you have your goal, you know where you want to take them down, you have to get them to that goal. And that's where pop-ups and things like Hello Bar really come in, because it supports you in getting people down the path that you want to get them down. So it's really, really, really vital. So I thought I would share our secret weapon, especially for my SaaS software people, that barely anyone is using, that works ridiculously well for us to get people to our ultimate goal. So our ultimate goal on Hello Bar is to get people to sign up for the software. So what we do is we display one of these. This is called a page takeover. It takes over the page on a website, and we only have it display upon exit, meaning someone's about to hit the URL bar and leave. This has us collecting an additional 900 signups per month. And there's a few reasons why it works really well. One is because it's only upon exit, right? So it's only when people are about to leave the website. 2, it's because we know that people that are coming to hellobar.com are looking for a way to save the traffic on the website. They're looking for a way to collect more leads and get more sales on the site. So we actually address their problem right there, right? This is an excellent intent. 98% of visitors are leaving your site without taking action. Create your account. It's completely free. So that's why it works really well, because we only display it upon exit, and we're addressing the issues that we know that our website visitors have. Again, this is where Leadfeeder comes in. If you can know the behavior, you can know who's coming to your site, you can create these custom messages and offers specifically for those people, so that they're getting the right message at the right time, because it's vital that you're giving the right message at the right time. So here's a few more examples of awesome different little pop-ups that we have in Hello Bar that we created really, really quickly. One of the things I love most about Hello Bar is you can get your offer live in just seconds. And one of the things I thought I would share that's interesting is Google actually did a bunch of testing about 2 years back, and they found that people were far less they liked the page takeover far better than they liked the modal in the center of the screen. They found it to be far less intrusive on user behavior. So I know a lot of people will say, I hate pop-ups, or I don't love them, or I think they're annoying. And the reality is oftentimes they get a bad rap because they're being used wrong. Many people use them immediately on sites. Also, many people don't display them with the right message. But I know oftentimes when I get the right message, I'm very excited to put my email address in or take action. This is an example of the yes/no question. Remember how I said that the yes/no question converts really well. This is an example of a top bar. Top bars are always great for those of you that are like, no, I still don't like page takeovers or modals or anything like that, because they're really just sit at the top of your website. So they kind of seamlessly integrate into your user experience. So that's why I love the top bar. And this one is actually the one that helped us collect that a ton of email addresses to ultimately sell those courses. And it was really simple. Do you want more traffic to your website? So here's just a few more examples, the ones we created really quickly. But once you get your offer live and you've got everything good to go, what's key is from there you've got to time or iterate. You guys, one of the biggest mistakes I actually see people make is they display their offers immediately on websites, right? And that's when we start to get into and I know I saw some people chatting saying, I don't like the page takeover, I don't like them. They're kind of annoying, and I totally get it. But it really comes down to timing properly. If you time your offer properly, they feel like they're seamlessly integrating into the website, and it's a part of the experience. And if you know your customer from softwares like Leadfeeder, and you're offering them a solution to their problems, they're going to be far more likely to be excited to see your offer. So just a few timing tips that I have. Don't display any of your offers immediately. Head into your Google Analytics, use softwares like Leadfeeder to understand when you should be displaying your offers. If you head into analytics, see what people are doing on your site. If they're staying for a minute, then maybe display your offer after 30 seconds or so. If they're bouncing immediately, then maybe display your offer upon exit. So really get to know your user behavior through your analytics, and it'll help a ton so that you can make sure that you're timing your offers appropriately. And then, of course, from there, you can just test. So one of the cool things we allow you to do in Hello Bar is you can get your offer live, and then you could create a variation of it, and you can do it really, really quickly. You can get an A/B test or a variation live in just minutes. And this is cool because then you can see what works and what doesn't work. I can't tell you how many times that I thought an offer was going to work really well, and then I tested it and it didn't work at all, right? So A/B testing is really, really key. We tell all of our clients, just get it live, create a variation, test it, and from there you'll know what's working and what's not. So how do you know when it's working, right? How do you know when your offer is actually working on your site? Well, a good conversion rate is about 1%, 1 to 2%. A great one is 3% plus. And the coolest part is that Hello Bar actually does this for you. There's no need to calculate it. So again, just know your goal, know your offer, create that awesome offer, and then time it and test it. Your users will tell you if they are annoyed or if they don't like the offer. Your users will tell you if your page takeover is annoying them. Believe me. We've actually had it live on our site, the one that we're currently running, for over 8 months and never gotten one complaint. But I've also had people that have contacted me and said, hey, my users complained about this. And then we figure out why they're complaining. Sometimes it's because they're displaying it immediately. Sometimes it's because you can't see the little X in the corner because they didn't have the proper coloring. So you guys, when you're creating these offers, it's not about disturbing user experience. It's just about going ahead and making it seamlessly integrate. Okay, I'm going to hand it back to Carol because I've got a lot of awesome stuff to talk about.
Wow, Lindsay, so much to absorb, and thank you for all the amazing examples. And I know a couple of you on chat have been asking, like, okay, so how does Leadfeeder tie this together? Without diving too much into it, at the end of the day, Leadfeeder allows you to track everything that Lindsay was talking about, all your pop-ups, all your call to actions, all the different downloads, the signups. And then what we do is we create these reports based off of filters that you set, whether by domain, page URLs, by geography, by industry, and then you can do a deep dive into what types of companies and industries are reacting to those call to actions. And then from there, you can continue testing and reiterating. Or you can directly reach out. I know someone else on chat had asked, like, so how do you reach out to these anonymous website visitors who don't actually fill out a form? There are many different tactics through social selling, or there's email templates. I shared a link to the Ultimate Sales Guide in the chat, and I'll share it again. There's some nice templates in there that you can use to reach out to the anonymous people who don't actually fill something up. But of course, the goal is through Hello Bar, you want to convert as many people and actually collect emails. But with Hello Bar and Leadfeeder, the magic happens because you're going to cover all of your traffic at all ends. Okay. Yeah, and I was just, it's just another screenshot of our platform, but basically, once you know the companies that are visiting and the industries that are visiting, you can continue tweaking and reiterating. I mean, for those of you who are users, I'd be happy to have my team hop on a one-on-one call with you to really customize the reporting based off of your business and the call to actions that you're testing, and we can help you optimize conversion rates through Leadfeeder. Okay, back to Lindsay. She's the star of the show.
Awesome. Great. So I think, once you have all that data I thought I would just share a little bit more, excuse me, about our testing philosophy, you guys, because I think what's key is less is more. So taking everything that Leadfeeder is giving you, all the information, all the data, and really utilizing it just to create a few simple tests on your site. So I always tell people to start, head into your Google Analytics, head into Leadfeeder, see what people are doing on your site. Get a pop-up live or a top bar live on your site, and then from there just let it test and see how it goes, because the numbers will never lie. They'll actually always tell you. So I thought I would share an example of just this, because this is an example of a client we worked with on the e-commerce side, and at first our pop-ups were not working. We were doing a great job of collecting leads, but we weren't doing a great job of achieving the ultimate goal, which was to collect sales. So I wanted to introduce you to Travis. Travis is actually the owner of Chord Buddy. Travis was on Shark Tank. He won because he created this tool that taught people how to play guitar, and he taught one of the judges live on Shark Tank how to play guitar. And it's pretty cool. He actually invented the tool because his daughter was about to give up on playing guitar. And so he's like, I can't have this happen. He had taught guitar for years and knew that that was a common theme. So when Travis came to us, he had a really interesting problem. So he was getting traffic to his website. He was getting people over there, but he wasn't getting the conversions he wanted. He wasn't getting the e-commerce sales he wanted. Most of his e-commerce sales were actually coming from bigger companies that he had sold the product to. So he had people Googling his name. He had people coming to him organically. They knew him and they'd seen him on Shark Tank, but they weren't actually purchasing. So originally we started with this pop-up, and this was kind of our pop-up that did fine, but it didn't do exceedingly well. So this pop-up, we actually had people put in their email address to get their free offer. So we gave them a savings, and we also gave them a guide that taught them how to play guitar. So we actually took a blog post that worked really well. It was his #1 blog post that people went to that taught people how to play guitar. And then we had people put in their email address, and then they got the savings, right? So we knew the ultimate goal was to increase e-commerce conversion rate and to get more sales. So this actually helped us to collect a ton of emails, but the revenue generated was about $1,500 a month. This was just specific to Hello Bar revenue. And the conversion rate was about 2%. So we made one simple shift, you guys. So instead of having people put in their email address to actually get their savings, we had them click the button and took them to the checkout page where they could put in a discount to get their savings, right? Now this increased the conversion rate to 2.8%, and this increased the revenue generated from Hello Bar from $1,500 to some months around $6,000, some months like Black Friday and Cyber Monday and the holidays around $10,000. So why did this one simple shift work? Well, we made it easier for users, right? So we took the data that we knew about the users. We knew that they already knew Travis, they already knew the Chord Buddy product, so they were very warm leads and most likely very ready to buy. And we just made it easier for them to purchase the product. So we didn't have to put in an email address. There wasn't any barrier to entry. And so from there, we actually clicked the button, and then it went over to the checkout page, and they were able to put in the offer, and it made a huge difference in revenue. Carol, did you remove the public blog from the website and convert it into a PDF for the first Chord Buddy offer? No, we actually didn't remove the blog. We kept the blog there, and then we created the offer separately, because we also knew that not everyone was going to the blog post. Although it was a really high traffic blog, not everyone was going there. A lot of people were landing on the homepage, the product page. He also had a very high bounce rate. So people were getting to the shop page and they were leaving. So that's the other reason why this worked really well. We only displayed this offer upon exit. So people were about to leave the site. So we knew that it would save them. And that's why the page takeovers on exits work really well, because people are about to leave anyways. So it gives them a little incentive to stay. But we actually kept the blog post live as well and just downloaded it and created it into a PDF version. So that's an example of just testing, right? At first we thought, oh, this is great, we're collecting email addresses, but then we realized, well, we're not collecting the revenue we want. So at the end of the day, you guys, you've got to put yourself in your user's shoes. And the best way to do that is looking at the data, looking at everything that Leadfeeder is giving you. And then from there, crafting that offer and getting it live on your site so that you can start to get the conversions and getting people to take the action step that you want people to take. So that's what makes the biggest difference, right? So for those of you, when you're thinking about taking action from what we've talked about here today, I'd love for you to start thinking about just 1 to 2 things you can tweak to make your business, to make your conversion rate even higher. So maybe it's that, your goal on your website is not in line with your goal on your business. So now you need to just slightly alter the goal on the website. Maybe your free offer isn't in line with your ultimate goal, right? Or maybe your free offer isn't present on your site and you need to get it live and visible to everyone. You don't have to go in and overhaul everything. You just have to start thinking about what are some small tweaks and changes that you can make, and using the data and numbers that things like Leadfeeder give you. So what I wanted to do for those that are on live that were interested in actually being able to make these offers live through HelloBar is I wanted to allow you guys free 30 days of our HelloBar growth plan. That's standardly our $29 plan. And that way you could take everything we talked about here today and actually test it out and apply it. So this is a free 30-day trial. And with the free 30-day trial, you'll also get some other cool things. I wanted to make sure that you guys were able to apply everything that we talked about here today in your business. So you'll actually get fill-in-the-blank headline templates and email templates. That way when you actually collect the offers, you guys can email people on the back end and make sure you know what to say. You'll also get a 6-module course. It's our accelerated email marketing course. And as well as some awesome trainings that we have available. So for those of you that are interested in trying, I'll go ahead and put the link in the chat, and you guys can certainly take the offer. This is, again, a free 30-day trial of HelloBar. I wanted to make sure that everything we talked about here today that you could actually take action on. So I hope you'll join us, and from there, let's go into Q&A. So I'd love to start getting to the questions, Carol, so we allow enough time for that.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, let's dive in. I mean, Lisa just asked the question, so let's just do that and we'll work our way back. I know we've been answering them as they came in. So so Lisa asked, does HelloBar integrate with Leadfeeder?
Did you want to take that one, or do you want me, Carol?
That's an interesting question, Lisa. I know. So so Lindsay and I have recently gotten to know each other, and this is our first, collaboration piece together. And we've also done like co-blogging. It's definitely an interesting idea, though. So we'll certainly pass it along to our product teams to evaluate. So stay tuned on that, Lisa.
That's awesome. And the cool thing, Lisa, is that HelloBar actually integrates with most major website platforms. So whether you have WordPress, Squarespace, Shopify, whatever, Wix, whatever it may be. So if you install Leadfeeder on your site and you install HelloBar, then from there, they obviously work hand in hand together.
Brilliant. Okay. I think a question earlier we had that didn't get into the questions tab was with the pop-ups, was it like a full screen takeover, or was it just a product? What do you offer at HelloBar?
Yeah, for sure. So when you get into HelloBar, we offer multiple different pop-up styles. So we do top bars, which is like the yes/no question that I displayed earlier. We have page takeovers. We have modals that sit in the center of the screen. So that's the one that doesn't take over the full screen. We also have little sliders that just come out to the right or the left. So we have multiple different styles. So for those that are still like, I don't know about these page takeovers, I always suggest trying the top bar, because the top bar, like I mentioned, seamlessly kind of integrates into the website. And so it looks like it's a part of the website. It scrolls with you. I think it's one of the, like, for those that are nervous about intrusive behavior, it's one of the least intrusive. But yeah, we have all sorts of site assets available. And I know somebody asked about GDPR. Yes, we're fully compliant with all the GDPR regulations. So within HelloBar, you can actually turn on the GDPR settings, put in your terms of service, everything you need, and you can put which checkboxes you want people to check. So that is fully available. And then you can turn on also, if you want people to opt into your newsletter and everything else, all your promotional materials, you can turn that all on as well.
Okay, a few of you have asked if we're sending the recording and or the PDF of the slides afterwards. Yes, the recording will be sent immediately after we end the webinar, maybe within a couple minutes. And if you want the copy of the PDF slides, feel free to email me. I'm putting it in chat now, and I'll send you a copy afterwards. Okay. Don't know. Any other questions out there? Thank you. Well, all right then. Thank you once again, Lindsay. You've been amazing for taking the time to share your amazing knowledge with us. And thanks to those who tuned in. Don't forget to check out Hello Bar's offer, and as well as Leadfeeder. If you're not already using us, we give us a 14-day free trial. And as a reminder, recording will be sent shortly after the webinar ends. Thank you, and have a great day, everyone. Or evening, if you're in Europe right now. All right, take care. Bye, everyone.